Good enough? That looks good.
Can you guys hear me all right?
We can hear you.
Need a rain tree back.
Thomas, that is you. We just have the echo. The two of us.
You may need to stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to do it with just one audio source. Because sometimes if you double it up, it'll get that feedback and that's not good.
This is good.
Test, test.
Not
Anyone here,
echoing.
Thomas from Flock?
Test, you guys hear me all right?
It's still echoing through your
I'm
computer.
reading.
The projector's got sound on it.
Oh,
I can turn it down.
okay. Everything's Amazon. We ready? Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic.
And
All right, motion to accept the agenda.
I'll second that.
Thank you. First is Thomas from Flock Security. Still have the echo.
You got me, Glenn?
I think you gotta close Zoom off of that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna close Zoom here.
Yeah, just let me know when you're ready and just want to make sure everybody can hear me.
Yeah, I want people to see you though. Can you close Zoom or no? You cannot. Can you? Thomas, can you hear me now?
Yeah, correct. Can you hear me? Test, test.
Let's give it to you.
You good?
You got HDMI over there? There we go. There we go.
You went on mute if you're trying to talk to me.
So I think.
There you go.
Right.
Glenn, you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, you guys good? You just went on mute, so I just, am I good to go? I got the floor?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Nice, awesome. Will you do me one more favor? Or I can talk, but will you go in there to participants? And will you hover over more under me? And just make me a co-host so I can share my screen? And then I can give it back to you when I get done. You'll still be the host. It'll just make me a co-host so I can share. Right now I can't share. Awesome, perfect. Okay, last chance. Everybody can hear me all right? I normally make everybody give me a thumbs up, but as long as you guys are getting
As loud
it.
as I can make it go.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, there we go. Awesome. Nice to meet you all. My name's Thomas Davis. I live down in Atlanta, Georgia, but I've actually been running Missouri for all the private camera sales for probably the past 2 years now. And so it's nice to meet you all. I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit, and so just bear with me and let me know if it's hard to hear at all. But really, I just want to show you guys a few slides tonight. I want to show you a little demo of flock safety, what we capture. Want to talk about how we can also, aid law enforcement in terms of investigations. And then at the end, I'll be able to take a few questions. And so just really to take you guys through this short deck, our whole goal as a company, we want to eliminate crime. What we're focused on here is curbing these crimes that our vehicles are used by 25% over the next 3 years. And so what we do as a company, we're focused on easy to deploy license plate reading cameras. And so what I'm going to do is really just give you guys some background on Flock, show you a few of the cameras, and then be able to just talk you through kind of how it would fit into the neighborhood. But these are Flock safety cameras. They're license plate readers. They're on a 12-foot Flock pole. They're infrastructure free. They run off cell service and they use solar power. So it gives us the ability to quickly deploy these cameras on city right of ways, neighborhood entrances, apartment complex, gates. And so different things like that. Just realize our whole goal is to be able to provide actionable evidence to law enforcement if a vehicle is used to commit a crime. And so 7 out of 10 crimes involve a car. Flock is focused on providing that type of evidence for any vehicle related crimes. What we've found is police have limited resources, crimes on the rise, and giving law enforcement evidence that they can actually go and do something with is what we're focused on. License plates are something that they've raised their hand. They've spoken to us. They've said that they benefit from that. And so Flock pretty much acts like a virtual gate, takes photos of the cars as they come in and out of the community. And then you guys can use them in the event a crime ever happens. So how does it specifically work is something that I wanted to make sure that we went over tonight. If you see up here in the top right, this is pretty much what a typical Flock photo looks like. The software is built on the back of the vehicles, and it's smart enough to be able to not only take a photo of that car, but as that car comes into frame, it has the ability to describe that image. And so this car you're looking at here in the top right, we know it's an Oregon plate, 093 LKD, but also what other information can be helpful for us if we're looking for a car. We know it's a black Chevrolet and it's actually a Chevy Malibu. And so we timestamp the vehicles and we're always photographing the back of the car. Somebody had a question earlier, and privacy always comes up when I'm doing these presentations. It's a license plate reading camera. As you can see in the bottom right, we take privacy really seriously. And so it's never going to be focused on who's driving the car. It's not going to be focused on any facial recognition. It's not going to be focused on writing anyone a speeding ticket or a red light camera. And then, anything around indiscriminate evidence, anything else outside of that. We're simply photographing cars, timestamping them. And in the event we're looking for, a red Dodge Ram pickup truck that stole a package off your porch at 3 p.m. this afternoon, we know we can go into Flock, we can search for specific information and find what we're looking for as fast as possible. And so just imagine it as like a virtual gate, taking photos of the back of the vehicle and plates as it drives into the community. It's infrastructure free and it's easy for us to deploy. And so it gives you guys something that can live at the entrance, photograph cars, and give you plates for vehicles. The last other slide too, I want to reiterate, what is this not? It's not facial recognition, not tied to any personal identifiable information. So, I have 2 of these that live at my entrance community in Atlanta. I live in Dunwoody, Georgia. And so if I'm passing a camera, it's not, this is Thomas Davis, this is where he's going. It's simply just a photograph of that car. It's not used for traffic enforcement or tickets. And the images are only stored for 30 days and then they're deleted. And so from my side, not only are we taking photographs of cars, but we do have the ability to alert departments if they're looking for a stolen vehicle or a felony tag. If it passes a flock camera, we have the ability to alert law enforcement that says, hey, here's a wanted car with a felony tag that's in the area of your jurisdiction. And so not only proactively capturing vehicle evidence, but, or excuse me, after the fact, capturing vehicle evidence, but proactively sending them alerts for stolen cars, felony tags, things with warrants tied to them as well. I'm gonna dive right into the portal. I just want to show you guys what it looks like to look up images. I know I showed you just a basic image, but these only go at the entrance point of the community. And so just imagine those choke points where people drive into the neighborhood. Cameras typically live there and they photograph cars as they come in. I've got the ability to search for any specific time frame up here. And then I can drill down on all those images over here on the left. So if I did a Google search for a car, I'm going to get every car under the sun. But if I go in and I'm searching for specifics, I'm looking for a red Dodge Ram pickup truck at 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon. That's what Flock gives us the ability to drill down on these images. And we don't have to sort through hours and hours of video to find what we're looking for. I can search by specific cameras. I can pull images with plates, images without plates. Is that vehicle have a tag, a paper tag? We photograph pretty much the entire car from behind. And so that evidence, whether they have a plate or not, is beneficial to law enforcement. And this is quickly how we could search through those images to find those specific vehicles if they ever didn't have a plate as they passed the camera. State tags. I've been talking to a lot of communities who've been seeing a lot of Illinois tags. And so it's that easy to come in, select a specific plate. And then also I've got the body type: car, SUV, van, pickup truck. It's all easily searchable here, along with the make, the model, the color of the vehicle. And one of my favorites, when it comes up around a license plate, we still have these unique identifiers that are kind of outside of a plate in a vehicle match. If I'm looking for a vehicle with a back rack, a top rack, a roof rack, window stickers, a toolbox, Flock has these easily identifiers right here. We can easily search through those too as well. And then some places like apartment complexes, they keep up a list of the residents. And so you could easily upload residence plates if you ever needed to do a search. If it involves somebody, who is outside of a residence or something like that, it's easily identifiable in here as well. So for an example, if I wanted to come in, I wanted to pull a vehicle maybe from last Friday. I'm going to come in, I'm going to select my time frame. I'll do something around 10 a.m. To 5 p.m. And this is just a demo portal that we use. So I select my time frame. I execute the search. Every search is audited. And so everyone would get their own login if they were to access the plates. We've got a couple different cameras in here. But it just shows you it's the same type of photograph that I discussed. The back of the vehicle looks like some of these are maybe a Tennessee camera with a Tennessee plate here. I've also got a Kansas plate over here on this white Dodge. But the way the cameras are set up is they're named off of the cross streets as well. And so I live on Kings Point Drive off North Peachtree Road. And so if somebody was to drive a stolen vehicle past that Flock camera and a police officer got a notification, they would receive exactly where that camera is located. Gives them the opportunity to stop that vehicle if it's going to be used in crimes later in the future as well that day. But for this, if I'm just trying to drill down on my search, you can see I've got about 1,400 objects in this sample size. So I can come in, if I'm looking for something specific, I'm going to select van. I'll do a white van, and I'm going to update my search. Been bringing in this black car for me. I'm going to exclude this plate. But from my side, what it does is going from about 1,500 objects to being able to pull all the white vans that were in this 7-hour time frame, I'm now down to about 22 objects. And so if I'm a detective and I'm looking for, a kid that was potentially kidnapped or put in a car, It gives me information fast. It gives me the ability to find vehicles and get photographs of these vehicles, so we can release them to the public or add them to the case file, whatever it is. Flock is just focused on capturing vehicle evidence and license plates. And it's always going to be the back of the car focused on the rear, because that's how our software is built. The last thing I wanted to do before I jump off is just kind of show you guys how it works in action. I've got a little short video clip from Winding Bluffs. They're up in Fenton, just outside St. Louis. But I really like this one, and it shows how it really just fits into home security, Ring doorbells. A lot of people don't think they need a license plate reader. But like, I'm a 6'3" white guy. If I got out of my car and I stole a package off your front porch, how many 6-foot white guys are there in Missouri? And where do we go from there? And so I think it's difficult to solve crime that way. But if I got into my Toyota Tundra truck at 7:15 p.m. on Thursday, March 7th, it gives them actionable evidence for them to be able to go and do something. Here's an example of somebody getting a package stolen, and Flock really just providing that evidence that law enforcement needs.
Tonight, a relatively new tool to catch car thieves is exploding in popularity. We're talking about these cameras that read license plates.
Yeah, police have been using them, but now businesses and neighborhoods are also installing them as we battle porch pirates, carjackers, and other issues. News 4's Russell Kinsall is live at 5 from the Fenton area where car break-ins have stopped since those new cameras came online. Russell.
That is right. I'm at the entrance to the Winding Bluffs subdivision right off of Highway 141. They've installed 2 cameras. Look right behind me. One is at the top of that pole behind me, but you'll notice halfway down there is a sign warning thieves. If they drive in here, they will be recorded. So these cameras have been so helpful and so popular that they're popping up, especially at places where people live and shop. Here's video of a thief stealing a package in the Winding Bluffs subdivision on Monday.
You order something, you pay money for it, and then you get home and it's supposed to be there and it's not.
She was caught on Les Howard's Nest camera and on a camera that reads license plates made by a company called Flock Safety. That photo was turned over to.
So for the example I was showing you earlier, same Flock photo, back of the vehicle, just based off the way this neighborhood's deployed. And so this is exactly what we want to do.
Police. The subdivision had 2 cameras installed to tackle a nagging crime problem.
Prior to that, we were just like any other subdivision in the metro St. Louis area. We were getting hit with what police call car clotters, people breaking into cars.
Area police have used motion-activated Flock cameras for several years to help spot stolen cars.
And so I'll wrap up with that. I've got a bunch of news stories like that if you guys need to see them. I just want to put a link to our website in the chat in case anybody needs any access or has any questions around our case studies. They just ran a report probably about 2 weeks ago that Flock's responsible for solving 10% of reported crime in the country right now. And so our website's great. We've got HOA specific information, frequently asked questions. I just would recommend you guys taking a look at that and then letting me know what questions come up. So I'll just stop there.
Can't see it, sir. Here, Sharon.
You can hear us. Oh. You can hear us, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just a little echoey, but I can still hear you. You guys have any questions?
You still have Zoom open, that's why you're.
Here, yeah, Glenn, if you want to leave the audio on your device, that normally helps out. If you can, I don't want to ruin your meeting.
Okay. He logged into Zoom. This is the one recording it. There you go.
Okay.
Does that help? Is that better?
Yep. That should stop it.
Okay. So you good for questions, Thomas? Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, no problem. I just want you guys to realize, we're a privacy focused company that does this. We've been doing it since 2017, and it's simply just a license plate reading camera. And so I'd love to hear what your questions are, and I got an idea probably what some of them are.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna start
I'd love
here.
to hear them from y'all.
If you don't mind, I'll start right away.
Yeah.
So all your cameras right now look like they're rear facing and they look like they're a distance away. How far can that distance be?
We do deployment. We have a whole deployment team that takes a look at each entrance. I'm gonna say it's about 75 feet is what it's typically
Okay.
covering. But yeah, one of the steps in the process is really to go entrance by entrance and map out where the cameras are gonna go. And so don't stress about having to worry too much about it. It runs off solar power or AC power. And then our team can coach you on selecting the best locations that you guys would have to approve as well. So our team approves them to make sure the camera's going to work and it's going to capture what we need at each entrance. And then you guys approve them as well before I even get you in the install queue. It's just a part of the process.
Okay, so I have to ask my crowd here in Missouri, what is the Missouri law for plates? You can go without a rear plate, is that correct on trucks?
Well, I looked it up and it said, if you're issued 2 plates, you're supposed to display 2 plates.
Okay, but you
Some
can also
trucks
be
only
issued-
get issued a single plate.
correct, your size, right? So Thomas, in our current situation, we have cameras right now, license plate cameras that are just taking images of those cameras. And they're in front of the cars as they enter our gate, and they're down low. Would that also work in this situation? Because our gates do get backed up, so the concern I think that I would have is that you get 2 cars pulling in right away. Is it gonna grab that information quick enough to identify that?
Thomas,
Yeah.
I'll interrupt a little bit. I don't think, I mean, these are not gonna replace the LPRs at the gate. This would be a standalone system, like near the entrance to Plantation Column Drive, is my thought.
Okay,
So maybe to go where I think you're going to go, we're never going to deploy a camera to shoot the front of a vehicle. It's all built off the back of the vehicle and taking photographs of the back of the vehicle. But just imagine, you know, as that vehicle comes inbound, we can photograph it. And then we also offer a bundle, which is essentially an outbound camera as well. And that would timestamp and capture the same, but as that vehicle exited as well.
okay,
Yeah, it's just in me doing this, like there's not a lot of people touching, you know, privacy or facial recognition kind of alongside of it. And I know it won't be like a silver bullet to solve everything that happens. I just think that like ours are the most modern and most efficient in terms of the way that they're deployed and the way, you know, they're solving things today. And so
okay. So sorry to kind of take over here, but
you go.
the issue in Fenton, which is very good to us, because that's very close to us. That home system was not a flock camera, is that correct? Was that?
Correct. That's just like a Ring doorbell. That's essentially what most of the people get to me. You know, hey Tom, you know, we've got video of a crime. Law enforcement showed up and they told us to go talk to you guys because we don't have any plates for the vehicles. And I think most communities just don't really have a way to monitor the cars that are coming in and out of their communities or their community entrance. And when it comes to crime, 7 out of 10 crimes involve a car. And so it just turns into bigger issues if we don't know who's coming in and out. And so this is kind of what that is solving for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Last, I have kind of a business relationship with Wright City, which is close to us out here. They are a flock partner or whatever. They use the flock system. So if I look at their stats right now, they say in the last 30 days, they detected 28, almost 29,000 vehicles. Wright City is a smaller community, and they only have 2 cameras. But it also says that they hit 91 hot lists in the last 30 days. What does that mean? Can you tell me what a hot list might be?
It says it's
a police
okay.
department. It's not a community, it's a police department. Yeah.
Okay, so you're reading stats for Flock from them, and they had plate reads, and then they had 90 hot list hits.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, like a hot list hit is what I was talking about, where if somebody steals a car in St. Louis and then they drive it, you know, that car gets reported stolen. When that car hits a Flock camera, we can alert the PD that, hey, you know, the reason they bought Flock is they want to know when these stolen cars and these felony tags are in their jurisdiction. And if they're using stolen cars to commit crimes, they want to know about it. And so essentially those hot list hits are from either the FBI's NCIC database or anything that they're looking for locally in the state. And so it's exactly how it's supposed to work. And that's great. They track stats. Yeah. There's a bunch of different, I don't work necessarily directly with the police departments. I'm kind of doing all these HOA meetings and discussions. I'm going up to St. Louis actually next week. We're going to do the North County Problem Solving Committee, but a lot of mine is just private communities, HOAs, apartment complexes, and the fact that the police department uses Flock gives us the ability to connect directly to them, just like you were talking about. So it's great. It's a great way to track it.
God bless you, be safe up there.
And Thomas, yeah. Good luck with that trip.
I mean, good Flock. They're a good place to go talk about Flock. It's just north of Ferguson. And just realize like St. Louis is the same as kind of it is for me down here in Atlanta. But you know, the thing about Atlanta is the company was started here. St. Louis, there's tons of cameras. There's cameras all over Missouri. You guys are an area where they're going about policing the right way and leveraging some of these technologies and trying to, you know, get it passed through the right channels. And so from my difference down here in Atlanta is there's one of these on every street corner. And so I know if my wife's at the gas station and she's running into an issue or somebody's giving her a hard time, she knows that if she gets the plate or the vehicle and the time, that there's more than likely going to be a Flock camera at that street corner, at that intersection. And so not only things like that, but stolen cars. My buddy had his Jeep stolen. You know, how do you think they track that thing down when they run it into the ground? You know, it's the last Flock camera that car passed. And so just think of vehicle related information. The fact that people don't live next door to you that are committing crimes, they want to get in and out fast, and they typically use cars. And so with us, we're focused on the vehicle, the license plates, and being able to have privacy focused way of going about doing this.
Thomas, it's Glenn.
Yeah.
The real-time feed to law enforcement, that takes no interaction.
It takes no interaction. And that's the one thing I didn't have for you. Are you guys Jefferson County Sheriff's Office or are you Hillsborough? Which one are you guys?
Both, but Jeff, go.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look at Hillsborough too much. I saw Hillsborough has Flock cameras, and so they should be the same deal. But Jefferson County, they're a Flock customer as well, and so we already have that MOU in place where we can send them an alert. So just think about it as like it's not like you're putting a camera in like your rural hunting camp in the middle of nowhere. Maybe the sheriff's office has never heard of Flock. These people have already vetted it and bought cameras, and we just want to connect you to take that layer even further where you're sitting on the couch and if somebody's in a stolen car in the neighborhood, you know, they can get a hot list hit like that other community or other neighborhood police department was talking about.
So I have a question. Is the data stored locally on the camera or is it constantly being uploaded to the server or what?
Yeah, it's 256 encrypted. And so, you know, it's all the major software companies. We're using all the same stuff. And so we're storing it.
Uploaded to a server or is it?
Yeah, AWS. It's just stored in AWS.
What kind of internet speed do you need?
I do not know too much about it. It's all it's all cell service. I know we use for the cameras, we use
So it's got a cell plan.
we use kind of the usual suspects, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, based off where the best coverage is for that area.
One more question, if I could.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
If you find something at a certain time that maybe is not police related, or maybe at that point you may not think it's police related, can you download it locally to keep it more than 30 days?
You could. So you think about something like non-life threatening. Just realize like you guys own the data as the customer. Flock owns and maintains the cameras. So it's essentially we're just picking up like the maintenance. You know, you're paying for like a service based off the amount of cameras you want per entrance. And then essentially you can give the whole security committee a login, the board a login, whoever like needs a login. There's nothing really other than images in there. That's all it is. But just realize there's, you know, every search is audited, privacy focused. So it's just around a discussion of how we would want to set it up. The biggest thing is that you guys don't want to be the ones to be called if something, you know, where's my cat? My 18-year-old's not home yet. Call the police. and the police can leverage the camera to find what they're looking for with a case number. And so I think it gives you like a good connection to work together with everyone. It sets the standard to contact the police and work with them because we've invested in a system that can give them the information they need to solve crime.
Do one more.
No, these are good, guys. These are fun. I mean,
So these cameras need to be placed on public property? Or
it just depends. Yeah, it just depends where every neighborhood's different. We know property lines, and so we always try to avoid city right of way where we'd have to get a permit. And so a lot of times you'll see them get deployed on private property. And then obviously if we have to use like a snippet of homeowner land or anything, you know, we'd have to have that private property permission form filled out to install it on that property. So around understanding where the entrance is there any common ground? We could put a basketball pole in the ground, and this can capture the cars the way we showed. But our team can coach you through it. And again, you have to approve that as well. So we're kind of working together through a Zoom meeting in the future on it.
So will we know what the hot list is?
No, you guys don't get anything like that. It's all just the law enforcement. We're not trying to deputize you guys or anything. It's a dashboard in there, though. You can pull the stats. How many plate reads have my cameras had? How many hot list hits have they sent? And then essentially, you know, you guys can, you know, the good part is I have some communities where, you know, the police department would come show up at their HOA meeting. They review results. It just gives you the ability to build a relationship with them through a similar tool.
Thomas,
But
what
no.
services you've handled, the cameras down? How does
Say
it
it
work?
one more time.
Time frames?
For like service if cameras down.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we monitor the health of the camera. And so essentially we're going to create a support ticket and dispatch somebody. I want to say it's probably within the week SLAs, but I'm not really handling too much of it. Essentially, you guys can log in the dashboard, see the health of the camera. You can monitor everything like that, just like our team does. But if it's not working, it's not doing its job, and therefore we would dispatch a tech to go fix it.
I'm gonna direct this question to Glenn, because it may not be appropriate at this meeting. Do we own these cameras, or do we
No.
lease these cameras, or do they own the cameras as a service? Or
We
take
yeah,
that out
absolutely.
later.
Well, I'll defer to Thomas, but I think it's basically a lease. They own it.
Yeah, it's essentially like everything nowadays. It's a subscription, and you know. But I just realized you don't have to get your ladder out and go fix the camera. If something ever happened, the maintenance and all that is built in, and Flock's just offering it like as a service.
Okay.
So for me, my cost is really how many entrances are we trying to protect? Do you want to put one or two cameras based off inbound or inbound and outbound at each one? Outside of that, you know, there's not really additional cost from me.
Can we add numbers to the hot list for us locally?
Not for you guys locally, nothing like that today.
I didn't know I did that many bad things.
Well, you just think like two, it's like if a kid gets kicked out of school and we want to know if he gets back on property, or if you know, there's things that probably working with law enforcement could help you with, you know, if somebody's trespassed. But just in terms of, I don't know any specifics around it, but no, nothing directly for you guys today.
Hey Glenn, Mike's got a question. I had a question, I think it's been answered. Are these cameras targets of vandalism? Do they get hit often or knocked down, or?
So I would say
You take care of it.
it's a good question. That we used to install them like back in 2017 on 6-foot poles. And so there's still one by my house in Atlanta that's still on a 6-foot pole, but now they're installed 12-foot poles high up out of the way. I haven't had to deal with anybody who's dealt with cameras being vandalized. I would say most people don't really even know what it is. Just like you guys tonight until I talk to you about it. But just like anything, I'm sure it could happen.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd be CC'd on support tickets and have to do reinstalls, and I haven't seen any customers in Missouri dealt with anybody recently that's had to go through that. And I've been here over 2 years. Good questions, there, y'all. Just realize it's a license plate reading camera. 7 out of 10 crimes involve cars. No facial recognition, and it's about providing that the right type of evidence. So when you're at home with your wife and you're watching Netflix and it's a true crime documentary and they get the car and they get the plate and things start happening, that's really how Flock fits in. And then proactively alerting them for cars and felony tags, things like that we discussed. So I'm here to help. Let me know what questions come up after this. I'll put my email in the chat for y'all.
Yeah, we'll share that, Thomas.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. No problem at all. And then here's the link to the FAQ. Are there any more questions before I jump off this? If there are, you can have Glenn write them down and I'll get them answered for y'all.
We'll go through that. I got that.
Okay. You good?
All right. Thanks, Thomas.
All right. Thank you guys. Enjoy your night. I'm going to jump off this. All right. I'll see you.
So part of my thoughts on Flock in general are, it's a standalone system for what I would consider higher crime, not just, our gate cameras. So that's how I would think about it and view it.
There's a question I have, does this address our crime though? I mean, I'm assuming our crime, somebody's not driving through the gate in and out of the house, they're going out on foot, or it's, kids, teenagers, whatever, vandalizing and stuff like that.
That's kind of why I think it's a separate issue.
Mhm.
This is, if we're serious about, car theft and perps out there driving cars with warrants, that's the hot list. We don't want them near us, but it's not going to solve the local kids.
And we're more concerned with local stuff. I mean, I am.
With the mailbox vandalism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Somebody rifling through a car in your driveway.
Right,
Yeah,
which is
I
typically
mean-
local kids.
Does anybody concretely know? For the time I've been here, nobody's concretely know, and the kid that's in court for the mailbox, he's not from here. So he was
He was
here,
just in here.
he was in here with, with friends, so, I don't know really what the answer is.
Tammy,
kinda
I've got a
thought
question for you real quick. The search, that's pretty similar to what we have now, right?
Yeah.
With the watchdog.
Yeah.
No.
I can generate those reports and that information for you.
So the only thing we would get is redundancy, because it's a separate system. It doesn't need internet. It's got its solar power, probably.
No, I have to question Tammy on that. Tammy's putting all the legwork into that, where the Flock system will go directly to the police department. And they
If
can
it's a
get
hot
to it.
list, right?
Oh, I think even if it's not a hot list,
Okay.
if you have vandalism,
Yeah, it sounds like it's whatever.
Right.
happens, so-
It's gonna get
part's
reported.
real time.
that's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
that's the
but I
difference.
agree that the plates we can see, we can't identify necessarily just by doing a search on the car itself, the color or the type of car.
Well, it's
But-
difficult to associate a vehicle at the gate with spray painting back on Eagle's Nest.
Correct.
We are never going to be able to make that connection, nor is Flock. You're simply identifying vehicles coming and going. What they're doing while they're here is not going to be determined by Flock nor us. That's where we need self-policing, parenting, those types of things. I don't know that.
It would if you caught the car in the incident, like we caught cars in that blow up of the porta pot. We just didn't have the information to do anything with. Flock was gonna report it to the police, so maybe we will.
We picked up cars that we thought were associated with it.
All right.
With license
They were
plates, right?
seen at the beach. There's a lot of vehicles that come and go that were seen at the beach for that incident. That again, that's them coming and going. Two of those vehicles, the black sports car didn't have plates and the truck didn't have plates. They The gates were down because they had been taken down physically earlier in the day. And it depends on where you want to invest your precious security funds and.
All right, so we'll go to the next slide here. Give me the 18 one.
The amount of what we call crime in here really is nuisance behavior. When you look outside of Jefferson County, the sheriff and the prosecutor, they are looking at crime. When that gentleman goes to Florissant, he's gonna be looking at crime. Inside Braintree's gates, we have nuisance behavior. We don't necessarily have crime. And when he was talking about stolen vehicles and that type of behavior, there are detectives specifically in Jefferson County that's all they do. And they are in touch with Braintree. They're never stolen vehicles. They never come in here looking for anything. As they say, Jefferson County offers a myriad of places to hide
Real
behavior.
thing, or real crime.
Even though they're idiots, they're not gonna come into a gated community. There's Jefferson County is huge. It's a very large county.
Right.
It offers a lot of real estate to hide poor choices and unlawful behavior. They're not gonna parade it in front of Braintree's face. They're gonna be asshats and they're gonna knock over a box. But that's happened once in the 8 years I've been here.
So here's my thought, it's with the security down here. I mean, cars get stolen, carjacked, robberies are everywhere. I mean, they happen in Ladue, you know, so I mean, you're not gonna be able to stop that kind of stuff. I think as far as security goes, I look at it as, for us, it's just, and maybe I'm just taking it down to the lowest level, but it's just people breaking in, coming through the gate, knocking the gate down, us, and then I gotta go put it back up.
Can't solve that. We can't solve them breaking down the gate.
Well,
We
that
can-
would,
we can-
that would,
we
that
can
would fix all that, how, but well, okay, so we got a license plate number. How are you gonna pursue that? You know, it's one of these deals where,
Well, and I'll answer that. If they submit that to the Jeffco Sheriff's Department, they're like, yeah, sorry. The broken gate's just not high enough on our list.
Yeah.
and they're not gonna do anything
They do
about it.
nothing.
And, well, this is what's, so I mean, we got people right now. We don't want this to get out, but we got people that drive through the gates and I get to go put it back up again, or Tammy, and nothing happens. There's no consequence, nobody gets fined, nobody,
If it's
Nobody-
illicit,
nobody
we
gets-
need to get back to that.
well, so that's what we gotta get back to. Now, how can we get back to that? Now, we used to have the little tags that were on the cars that got bought when you paid your assessment. And when you did that, they gave you a little tag and it said 269. I got 269 and it belongs to Ken Jarris, and here's his license plate number that thing goes through. So now when, at least it allowed us to find out who was knocking down the gates. Off the owners down here.
Only
Everybody else.
if it's every car.
Reality, no, it wasn't. You got 24 property owners in here. Average family owns 2 cars.
Correct.
You should have had close to 5,000 stickers sold.
Correct.
We sold 1,750 of them. So we didn't even get to a third of the population. So if you are rule abiding, you bought your sticker,
Mhm.
you registered your plate, we had the data. 2/3 of the place didn't, and we don't have the data.
Yeah, but now, John, we're even further down the road and we don't have any data at all, you know, so. That's a way, that's a thing that, you know, I'm looking at it as. That's one of our major problems is people getting in here that aren't supposed to be in here, not more or less car theft and robberies and stuff like that. It's people coming.
So
through
here's
the
my
gates
point.
and us not being able to do anything with it.
50,000.
Go up and I get
December.
something. 10 times a month? Not a crime, that's a nuisance.
Yes.
I mean, I hate to say it, we live in a lovely place. I leave my garage, they do not want to burglar me. They're not assaulting me. They're not, there's no violent crime. No one's breaking into my home with a gun. They're going to the beach and drinking. That's a great problem to have, isn't it? That a bunch of kids want to come into our beautiful neighborhood and hang out for a couple hours. I will go out in the rain and I'll put the gate up 10 times a month.
Right.
I don't consider that crime.
But,
That's a
you know,
nuisance. They're
but
not.
you may call it a nuisance. If you're the owner who had your mailbox knocked down 3 times and you spent $750 putting it back up, you're pissed off. If you're.
But it's also,
And part of your assessment went to pay for the $4,600 porta potty that got blow up.
Talk about something. I get pissed off about the waves in my boat dock. Ooh, again, Crimea River. It's a problem to have. It's not a crime.
Well, the board's being asked to do something from the owners to address it. So
that's kind of where, so okay, I'm gonna go to the cost first, real quick. We're gonna just digress to the cost.
Yeah.
So if there's 2,000 plus residents, it's $1 a year. I think that's nothing for just the secondary system. So $2,500 a year for one camera, and all you need is one. We only have one entrance, main entrance, we're not talking gates. We're just talking where every car has to come
out
through,
there.
right by the guard shack.
Okay.
Okay. So what's that, that's gonna catch cars coming in, it's gonna identify them.
And if they're on the hot list, at least you catch the major criminals for $1 a year.
Wow.
Let's
So
see.
at least I have a digital way of.
I mean, so all we're doing at that point is we're helping out the police department do their job.
Yes.
We're not doing anything for ourselves at this point.
Right.
A little bit of redundancy. If our cameras or internet goes down and we don't get feeds, this will fail at the same time.
But
Yeah,
a true license plate reader will require everybody to be registered in the office and everybody have a sticker.
And that's where we're gonna go. We're gonna go to that. Think about the cost,
We keep going.
but then this is where I go to. So gate access methods. You know, first of all, I think there's a vandalism problem, not a crime problem. I'm kind of on that vein.
You're right. Yeah.
It's vandalism. I mean, mailboxes and painting the pavilion and knocking
things
over.
getting blown up and
It's
stuff
vandalism.
like that.
It's
Yeah,
vandalism.
correct.
So
But it's not, the police are gonna get involved.
the police aren't gonna get involved.
Seriously, anyway.
We have to self-police, but we have to either throw up 1,000 cameras, which we have. If we can, leverage everyone's Ring, Nest, Roku cameras. And they share it when needed. That would work. But I think the overall goal from the last ballot with RFID was to get vehicle registration. Your point.
Is the RFID attached to a car?
I think we should get a sticky one, so it should, and it's really hard to take off, if that were the case. Now, I liked LPR at first, because of course, license plate recognition, you have to give us your license plate number, the car, you know exactly who it is, and you can't, unless they're taking off the license plate, you're not switching that
Okay,
around.
talk to me like I'm a 2-year-old. What are the two choices?
The two choices in terms of, we're saying, and this is just I need to understand as security chair, because I'm still searching for the right answer. What's the problem at the gate? 50,000 times it gets opened, what's the problem? So my problem is ease, backups. I don't know if the residents aren't criminals, we just want in.
But is RFID or LPR gonna address vendor and guest access? Cause that's where the backups occur.
And I would agree, and it would, but you would have to know the license plate of your guest and or vendor. And have time to have the office implemented, which may not be as real time as you need it.
Yeah.
But if either one of those were to be reality, it addresses the property owners. That's how property owners getting in. The only other way you're getting in is the guest gate. That means you personally open that gate for that car, so when it captures that RFID going, or if it captured the license plate, that's where I think the license plate reader's got a leg up on RFID, is the license plate reader's gonna capture your guests that came in that you opened. So now we've got a tie-in. If we can find that car did some shenanigans or whatever, you know, because again, I mean, for the owner that's getting hit with this stuff, it's not children's play. It's not, they got real problem, you know, and they tell the board about it regularly. So, you know, we do have a system already that the vendors come through on. You know, could it be improved possibly, but, you know, I mean, we got a gap here in that, you know, and to answer your question, the problem that we're being challenged to solve is that we don't have the vehicle registration on the owners and people that have access to open those gates and come in the community.
And we only sold half the amount of stickers that we should have.
Probably not even.
Right. And this would force that.
And, you know,
And this would force that to happen.
If you want in the gate, you're gonna have to get your sticker, which means you're gonna get your, either your RFID reader that sticks on your windshield or submit your license.
And if not, well, then you have to go in through the back gate using your card.
Not
No,
far.
And I think cards would go away eventually.
you know,
Cards would go away, and so they would have to phone themselves.
They would have to phone themselves.
So,
call it good.
Is the potential the same for RFID and license plate readers, eventually becoming real time and opening the gate? Could they both at one point recognize the vehicle or your, you know, unique number and open the gate for you so that we didn't have to have cars and have to go back?
Oh, no, that's exactly what it does. You almost drive through full speed, as long as that thing opens up fast
They
enough,
would
but
both be able.
you don't have to get out in the rain and stick your hand out.
They could both do it.
Yeah, both do it.
So what's this going to cost, you know, so you wanna do both these
Well,
programs? or-
No, I mean, RFID is pretty expensive, but they're both about, I guess they're both pretty similar. So here's a quote from basically a year ago. And that was, you know, for 3 readers at three of the gates, 10 grand. Let's just round it up to 10. And that only included, what, 50 tags? Every tag, that's my problem, is $9, roughly $9.
So we would have to charge everybody $9 to
Right.
get these things.
License plate's free. That part of it. You can-
So wait a minute, you talk about having one camera for a license plate reader.
So two different
Per
things.
flock. Per flock. That
I'm
was
sorry.
not a gate, that's not a gate opener. Right.
So would that be like the RFID, you pay your $9, $10 for, but you would have to renew it every year, right? Based on
Well,
that.
Well, that would be, it would kind of, I think that would be more like the key cards that we have now.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to read it.
But if you buy your car,
You wouldn't have to renew it until you bought a new car.
Right.
But I
We're all-
want a sticker on the car,
Yeah.
because the
I
the
did-
covenants require a sticker, we still have not resolved that.
Right, so I think that's how we dovetail into getting stickers on every car
It can't be.
and making and actually earning some revenue too.
So what, you got a car with sticker and it goes in for maintenance. You're without your car for a week, so you're,
Then you
Go
got
to the gas,
Decide
yeah,
to-
go dial yourself.
which is the exact thing that backs up the gate.
It doesn't back up too bad.
I mean, we.
Yeah, those weekends,
you
especially holiday weekends.
You get a holiday weekend,
Yeah.
nobody can get in. You know, I can hand my card off to multiple people right now, right? I can go up and key them in and everything. I can't key in another car with RFID. They have to go to the guest stick, to the guest kiosk in the back. They can't follow me, you know, I can't put it on the top of the.
Right, you can't leave it, you can't leave it.
Can't do any of that stuff. You can't go to the gate.
But I also don't think.
So
that's a
everybody's got to
problem.
go to the gate.
Guest access, if we're dialing 9 and letting our guests in. We can do that all day long, 1,000 times a day.
You have 1,000 cars lined up for an hour.
Well,
Right, but I just don't think. it
But you
doesn't
can
seem-
register your guests.
And give it our.
Yeah.
Oh, the license plate reader anyway would be an easy thing. You
That would be,
you just take the license plate and put it in the database.
right.
And we can come up, John, with a policy around, hey, if your car's in the shop for a week, if you got in a car accident, you got a rental car. I'm like, we could figure something out. I'm like, you know, that. Yes, we created a revenue problem for ourselves with with all these stickers. And you combine all the sticker stuff we do. Last year was $107,000 of revenue. We can't do without the revenue, but we certainly could migrate away from something if it's a better solution. And
If it were LPR and you did charge X dollars, what's a sticker cost? It used to cost $2. What's it cost today?
25.
Yeah, I thought that's for the beach.
Yeah, that's just to cover the beach area.
What about just a resident sticker?
There is.
We don't have
$25.
That is a resident.
that. Is,
Yeah.
you know,
No alternative.
It's like, I don't go to the beach, I don't need one on both my cars.
Let's just let's do LPR and have everyone buy it and $9
And
annual or something.
one of the LPRs I was looking at is about $800.
Yeah.
And so you need 3 of those.
But we can also.
There's software that comes along with it. I think that's the issue.
It's a web-based server
Yeah.
built into the camera.
Yeah.
So once you know the password, you can go,
Okay, so-
and it stores it on the camera. It doesn't upload it to some server. and-
Here's the issue. Digital watchdog's the system we have for surveillance. Go ahead. Ben.
So the cards that we've already purchased for ourselves and for our family members, that would be flushed out. That's why any of these.
Say so.
We phase them out.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, yeah, I would think, you know, like you were talking about, you were talking about John's
Grandfather, and they
situation.
come up to the office and here's my card and
But you were talking about John's situation, you know, your car gets wrecked or whatever, and it's gotta go to the shop, you can give them a card, and you can go ahead and use for
Well,
6
if it's
weeks.
a rental car, it's got a tag, you call the office and give them. a
Right,
new
here's the new.
If we use
license plate.
LPR, yeah.
If you're using a license plate,
Right.
which way are you leaning? I don't know, which.
I like the license plate reader because I think it's the only way to force stickers on every car.
Yep.
And be automated.
Wait, if you have a license plate reader, it's reading the license plate, it's not reading the sticker.
Right,
No,
but
right,
no,
yeah.
but it forces the resident to actually buy the sticker.
To register the car.
To register.
Well, but everybody's gonna look at his RF reader stickers.
They would do that too. So it would do the same.
And,
The only thing that I don't like about LPR, and I don't want to get into golf carts, that drives me crazy. I don't know how we're gonna solve.
Okay, I still think that's a possibility that you can present a drawing, a template that it will read.
Okay.
Yes,
Like
that's-
of cars.
But that's probably reproducible by anybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm-
That's gonna be
If
reproducible.
you look at the interface on this one LPR camera, you can draw little boxes where you want it to look on a vehicle. And I measured my golf cart tag, it was 2.5 inches, my license plate was 3. So it's not like a teeny tiny number.
Mhm.
Hey,
So-
Kenny, if I could answer your question, all right. You know what? Depending on the cost of this thing, we could come up with potentially some setup to where, all right, you know what? You bring your gate card in and we'll give you with the registration whatever the equivalent is on it. And, you know, personally, I mean, I don't have the sole say in this. I think that, you know, as financials permit, we should be migrating away from this vehicle sticker for identification that you have to pay for anyway. We should be migrating away from the pay of the vehicle sticker. You know, yeah, we gotta come up with something for the beach, you know, parking, because the owners told us clearly they value that. But, you know, I mean, unless we do something that gives us recurring, you know, like we gotta buy a new RFID every year. you know, if you had to do that, then yeah, we'd have to recoup the cost, but. You know, I don't think you have to replace the RFID tag every year. You just are gonna either turn it on, you re-registered your car, you turn it on. You don't pay your assessment, you turn it off. And, right, so, and you know what, the one nice thing is that, you know what, if you wanna register your kids' cars, register them. If you know, cause again, like Flock said, we're only after this stuff for when some shit happens.
Right.
Let's, you know, we're not monitoring anything. We're not, you know, when somebody raises some question, that's when we go to this data to look at it. So, you know, we don't have to, you know, as part of this solution, we don't have to sell vehicle tags. If we want if we want an identification sticker on every vehicle, then you know what, when you register your, let's just say LPR, you register your vehicle and you're the owner's vehicle, you give them cause that little sticker doesn't cost that much money to us to create a hardship. Here's your sticker. Do we have to change that sticker? Yeah, cause otherwise you don't know who paid and who didn't, but.
You're saying that if you register your license plate, you're gonna get a sticker for your windshield also?
Your purple
Could.
sticker for this year.
You could if people want that.
But that should only be for the residents, it shouldn't be for our kids.
Correct.
So you have to make the difference
Correct.
between that.
Well, I just wanna know if I see a car in Raintree that it belongs here.
Well,
That's what the
you
sticker,
wouldn't know that.
well,
And I think that's the challenge.
If-
I have
Because of whether-
10 cars on a weekend that don't belong here, but they're yes.
All right, I'm way out of my lane because this is technology stuff. But the license plate reader, okay, so are either one of these things, now I'm talking about bad weather, so can these things still, read with it?
John talked to a buddy in Florida. On
Okay.
bad weather LP, license plate did have some issues.
They had some issues with weather. Now, that's been a while ago. I've talked to 3 different people in communities that had RFP and they were all manned entrances. They weren't unmanned, just poles like we had. So that's my question, how realistic is it to do the RFID on 3 unmanned gates? Is it gonna cause issues? I don't know.
I think RFID would be weatherproof. It's the same thing as the car.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
exactly the
Right,
same.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a weather problem. And I
License
think
plate
that
reading is completely
the
different.
camera technology, that was 5 years ago that they,
Right,
probably
and I
camera
think it's better,
technology's
but
come a
it-
long way.
You
Since
know,
then.
the first snowstorm and your license plate's covered in snow, you wanna talk about a backup?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
backup.
Alright.
So, I mean,
as long as the RFID is physically attached to the car.
You can't force
Huh?
it. You can't force it.
Go ahead.
You can, you won't get in the gate.
You know, what I was thinking is, I hear what you're saying with this license, I think I like the license. Maybe I'm thinking, don't we still have to catch people doing something? Because we have to catch, somebody's got to get, I saw someone who do that, and I got the license plate, here's the license plate. And then from there, now if they live here, we know who they are. But if they don't live here, then we got.
And that's why I like license plate readers too, because it catches even someone ramming through the gate. It still catches that.
Well, I think
Which we do today, most of the time.
And in fact, you can set up an alarm, and if they went through the gate, it's not the database, they'll email the office. A timestamp or a picture of the license plate. or whatever.
If you have a rental car, but yours is broken, your car is wrecked.
Just
Or-
call the office,
You
register
have
that tag.
6 kids and you wanna pay whatever a piece and they register their cars,
if it's a license plate reader, it doesn't have to cost anything. We set that, the board sets what that charge is.
That part's good. RFID is $9 a little tag.
but
So
license
you
plate
have to
reader
charge
would be
something.
free for right now.
I mean, you could think of it, it's free,
Or that-
just someone has to enter the license plate number.
created one license. one card for a license, one vehicle, a license, one current card, otherwise you'll just have people say. It would get.
So say if you don't charge for it, think it out.
Yeah, they're all just gonna come around it through.
My kids, we want them a card and they come and go.
Yeah.
We could say the same thing. You could buy 10 cards, you can only register 10
Okay,
days.
so
That's what I'm saying, so
You could.
We should have a limit.
But you can't have a 15 or 20 cards, or a license plates registered to a particular home.
We should have a same limit.
So, well, here's this a thought, if it's free. Why don't we set up the license plate reader, try it for a year? 2 years, and if we don't like it, well, then we can go flip on over and start.
That's kind of our plan.
$10, you know, for, and I mean, you know, you're not locked into it for life.
Not at all.
But if it's free,
And we have
we can go ahead and implement it right now. But even if it's going to cost, if the other one is going to cost
The system's
X
not
number.
free.
10,000.
The system's not free.
Oh.
It just doesn't cost you.
It's
to
just-
add-
it's just
any
But we have a broken license plate reader right now. Camera. And we're replacing it. So we want to replace it with a true LPR that can manage the gate as a test. I think that's a great way to spend the money,
Mhm.
not just the same old,
Yeah.
same old. Let's get, because it will do double duty. It'll do the normal surveillance, but it'll also open the gate.
How configurable are these, say I'm getting some remodeling work done and I got a vendor that's gonna be coming in for 3 weeks, can you do a license plate temporary and have it expire in 3 weeks or a month? So you can-
One time only.
It sounds like it would be a pretty good idea to do this on one camera and see how it works.
That's what I think.
X number,
That's what I
X
think.
number, or
Otherwise, yeah, you spend all the money.
for the summer and see what it, you know.
We use it as guest access only for the summer. Or, you know, let's just say, here's a small volunteer group that says.
Everybody on the committee has to submit their license.
Without knowing it.
We could load up whatever license plates we have in the office, you know, whoever bought a 2024 sticker, we got your registration, we load your
I mean,
info in and.
we don't even have
you
to
can
jump,
test.
jump in with both feet.
But the problem is, we'll have one camera.
Can I blow this up a
Limit
minute?
one day. Go ahead.
Blow it up.
Oh, no, Linda had a question.
Well, we have
Broken.
broken. We had.
It needs repair.
When it's working, all it does is survey. And when someone has an issue, like they rammed the gate, they broke the gate at X day and time, they'll go back in the footage of the surveillance. And they'll look at it. They'll take the picture and they'll.
Yeah.
It does.
That's what we have today.
There's no software in it, there's no trigger.
But there's no technology to open gates. Okay, gotcha.
But we could get one of these cameras and have it actually open a gate.
Correct.
Though, for how much?
It's about
How much?
2,000. I think a regular LPR that we have for surveillance is 1,000.
And which gate would you put it on?
Or something, yeah, just a
I
camera,
could-
just a camera.
Yeah, it was 1,400 when we replaced.
And we were talking about we just have to decide what gate. I think the front gate.
I'm saying which gate goes in the most?
The front gate.
The front gate. Well, then I would say put it on the front gate. The front gate's the one
Well,
that goes in through the most.
But something you can also do is, we talked about at a board meeting is, okay, I don't know what the cost is, so it could be cost prohibitive. Do we want to put put a guest pad in at the Ridgecrest gate? So you relieve some of the, backlog of there, but I mean, to
All it takes
me.
is one car there and then you got a backlog that's worse, cause you got.
And then it goes back onto.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, can I blow this up completely?
Yes,
Can I blow up with a whole different idea and everything?
yes.
Okay, so my concern with all of this is the gates. So all we're looking at is the gates at this point and who's coming and going. Okay, so what we know from the vandalism that we've had, mailboxes taken down, pot potties blowing up, vandalism thing, they were inside people. They were in, they had nothing to
To
do with.
legitimately get in the game. I agree.
Legitimately get in. Okay, so I've been kicking around an idea here. And this is totally different to make our, and Dan Ozolinski has actually presented this to me. I was hoping he was gonna be here tonight. So Dan Ozolinski takes care of all of our cameras and everything now. He's a very smart guy, very into this and everything. Been here for 20-something years in this area. So what he kind of presented to me, and I've kind of taken it and run with a little bit, is that if we get our residents to run with putting security cameras on their property somehow, and then we have them record up to the cloud somehow that we can control, and we see them, they take on the expense of those cameras at this point, no expense to us. And that's how I went into it. And then I got to thinking about last Halloween, when Halloween came around and there was a big fiasco about who can trunk or treat where, or trick or treat where. And everybody brought up about the light issue, that the streets up on the hills are dark and everything. So my current proposal at this point, real general, with a couple dollar amounts I have here, is that we present a opportunity that a resident can volunteer to put up a solar street light on their property that's gonna light up their street with motion, or they can make it themselves dusk to dawn. On that street post, they're also going to buy cameras themselves. They're gonna protect their property coming and going. So we have a number of these light posts that protects, you know, if you want to light up your street in front of your house, it's gonna light up when a car comes down, when a person walks down. It's gonna deter some vandalism right there, because the light's gonna turn on, those kids are gonna book out of there, right? The camera's gonna catch this. There's a online company called CamCloud that you can sign up for. You register all these cameras with CamCloud. It all goes up there. We administer that here. You can have 200 cameras.
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
what I was looking for with that Ring
Right.
neighborhood app,
Right.
and but CamCloud can be any camera, right?
CamCloud can be any
That's-
camera
that's-
and you can control it. Ring camera, you're just
Oh, yeah, you
registering.
have to be Ring.
You're registering your Ring camera basically to say, I will give the police or officials my
Much happier
camera
with
footage.
CamCloud, much happier.
Right. So this would be something that we would register ourselves. We would know where those cameras are and everything. We would administer that ourselves. We'd be able to see it at any given point, just like our cameras are back here. Someday we probably should show the people what our cameras do. Our cameras do a lot. They are pretty awesome. And the gate system is pretty damn awesome. So all of that should work together. So now the question is, everybody's asking, what does that cost? So, you know, I say, so we just happen to be, me and John happen to be neighbors right next door to each other, right? We share a mailbox, and I'm saying that anybody wants to do this, somebody, and, you know, maybe a company like CCI Networking or whatever, would be the company that would control this and would do the installation and all. And you would put a post in there, and let's say this post, at this point I'm looking at, is a 13-foot post, like he just mentioned, which I was glad that he didn't go higher than that, because I'm thinking that's high enough. It can be as little as about $250, depending upon the number you're ordering, up to about $420. So quantity discounts in there, okay?
That includes the concrete setting and everything.
It does not include the concrete, no. No. So these are general dollars at this point, that's correct, and does not include the labor, none of that stuff. So let's say that we order ahead and we get it at $250 a post, all right, Dream World. You say that you're gonna put that light up on top, which is going to be another $200. We're up to $400 that this person who wants to secure their house is now putting in. A camera, 2 cameras, whatever you wanna put up there, you're gonna also install that, another couple $100 for that. Okay, so not everybody is gonna do that, but if we can get people to work together as neighbors, would you get one post every so often? and make it work and shut some of these people down that say, we don't have security here. You have control of your own security. Now, here comes the bad part though. Here really comes the bad part. With CamCloud, for them to monitor it, and it has a built-in LPR. Okay, so it does have built-in LPR. I saw a demo of it yesterday. It will do everything that that guy just did. Identify the plate, identify the car, identify the color. That black car that came up that was in a white, with the white cars, is because it had a white reflection of a light on it. That's why it showed up in the white van thing. And it looked square. So this, wouldn't that deter more of what we're looking for than just wondering who's coming in the front gate?
No, that's what I was trying to work on some self-policing with, we all have cameras.
Correct,
So
correct,
this
okay.
is the way to combine the strength.
But with the CamCloud, you're registering it to CamCloud.
I agree.
CamCloud.
Because otherwise, if there's not a central repository that you volunteer to be in, it's useless.
It's ours.
Yeah, but that would be, it would be tough. Everyone has their own, and then if there's an incident, you have to really
You have to
beg
find
and,
out. Correct.
plead to get the
Correct.
video.
Correct, and those cameras, I would say, the standard that we would recommend is a single camera, not a PTZ. It's not gonna spin, because you don't wanna see the person's house. You don't need to see into their driveway necessarily. You wanna see down the street. You wanna see what's coming, going. Maybe just one way, because like we just found out, whoever comes in has to maybe go out, so you're gonna catch a plate one way or the other. The monitoring of each one of those cameras is $15 per month. Okay, so that can add up pretty quick, So when I presented this to this guy, I told him we had 700 houses here. Let's say every third house does it, we're about at 200 cameras. This is the pricing that he gave me at this point, is between 15 and 20 bucks per month to monitor, to allow us to monitor. We're monitoring those cameras, but we would have access to them. 90-day, 60-day retention. We would be able to download anything that we thought was, an issue, if somebody. So now somebody gets their trash can knocked over. That's the downside. They're gonna want us to find out who knocked down their trash can, and, we're not gonna do that, right? Their mailbox, yes, we're gonna look at that maybe, make them feel better. We're gonna add a little security of light in front of your house. When you pull up in front of your house, you're gonna have lights. That's my thoughts. I mean, that's in a nutshell, my thoughts about. I really don't care about these gates. I don't care about RFID. I love the cards. I understand the license plate readers. I understand the RFID, but it's inside these gates that this stuff is happening. And there's 40 miles of road, and we're concerned about 60 feet here.
But once you catch that license plate and that office has no information on that vehicle or that license plate, you're at the same
Dead
dead
end.
end straight we are today.
I
You're at the
understand,
same dead end.
but if you catch that golf cart going by, because it's not coming in and out, it's in here all day long. You catch that vehicle, you put that vehicle, you post that
It's-
vehicle
yeah.
up there and say, we're looking for this car, anybody recognize it? You got it. I mean, I don't know if you can really do that, but I get it. But even if you catch these plates at this point, you're gonna call the sheriff, and the sheriff's gonna say, well, they don't
No,
care.
but going back to Kent's point though,
It's
is
not
if
trying
you,
to find somebody, it's
if-
trying to prevent.
right, but if we can find that person and we have the information, we have the ability to go back to the owner. It's the people that, we can't go off and we can't find somebody that's not an owner here. But if I can tag that you let that person in, Kent, then I'm going back to you. But if I don't have the information, I can't do anything because I have no clue who it is.
Once they're past this gate, how are you gonna find them? What do you have to even find them? At this point, if they happen to drive by the beach and our camera picks them up there, that's cool. But if you had these cameras every once in a while, for one thing, it's preventative, because these lights are gonna come on at nighttime, it's gonna prevent. Secondly, if they come up and they knock down a mailbox in the middle of our street, we had it done. We had our own home cameras that we couldn't really figure out who it was. The person actually admitted to it after the fact,
It didn't,
but
it didn't pick up at dark.
mean,
The
it didn't pick
cameras
up
didn't
at dark.
record at dark,
Right.
but
these would be out there on the
right,
street.
but part of it is when you talked about deterring, if the people doing this stuff don't register their car, and they can freely go throughout this community without leaving the community, and they know that we don't know who it is or who their car is, that buttons that hole up. That gives us an added layer of protection, just like this does. Because until we can get to the point of we identified it, we know who the owner was, we know the vehicle, because there's two ways you get in here. Either you pass that gate with RFID or the LPR. You go to the guest gate and you come in the guest gate and the LPR camera's there, and it takes that, and we have that you let that same person in at the same time. We now have the data and information that we're missing to be able to do something about it. Kent said earlier, you know, people bust these gates down all the time and we can't do anything about it. Well,
No, I understand for the people that are having to put these up, it seems like all the time, like Tammy, I think was referring to, it's 10 times and.
It's
and so on.
it's not that bad. Okay,
but once the beach opens, that gate will be down 20 times a week. Guaranteed, because we get the notifications that the gate went down.
Okay, then let's take the foam off the gates for starters. Let's take the foam off the gates. Let's do some damage to these cars that are hitting these gates.
Barbed wire, I thought.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
No, it's not. Why is the foam one? Take them off.
Scratch
If you
your
go,
car.
if you go into a parking lot down at the stadium or whatever, it's a wood thing coming down on your car. We got a damn foam thing that's gonna fall off.
They.
Gate malfunction, it's somebody's car and damages it, then the POA.
Well, we got insurance for that.
I
Oh,
like
that's
these
good.
spikes and this road spikes.
So don't we have like 18 cameras around here
We
already?
do, 18.
18?
There's 3 gates and 6 cameras at each gate. Three in, 3 out.
6 cameras at each gate. And
3 in, 3
gates.
out.
And that's the 18.
Plus,
Isn't there ones big?
Oh, yeah, there's about,
Ram, boat ramp.
You know, I guess if you talk to 20 different people down here and they're going to give you 20 different answers, you know, like, you know, some people are worried about, you know, their house being broken into and this and that. Other people here, they're just worried about people showing up down on the beach. If you talk to the beach people, they're gonna say, you know, like, we got a bunch of people down here.
Well,
everybody has that.
to John's point, I think the deterrent, you know, when they showed the thing on Fenton, their crime went down. It wasn't because the police were
The
doing
sign.
it. It's because the sign, and they know the cameras are there, and they stop vandalizing and, you know, doing crime. I mean, that's what the deterrent part of it is, obviously, so
But John.
that part makes sense.
I think that we, you know, like, what was that, you know, if you can cut down on some of it, you know, like if we can at least just take care of what's in-house and not worry about, you know, if you can at least take care of this, what's going on inside Raintree, rather than worrying about outsiders coming in, that would be half the battle. Yeah, that's the battle, you know, and so, you know, to that point, you know, the license plate readers and all that makes total sense, you know, and especially if we do it for, we're buying a new camera and then it's gonna cost $10,000 to upgrade the software.
RFID.
RFID would be 10. This is,
I think you said the LPR was about the same for all 3 gates.
it will, if we did all 3.
All 3,
And
yeah.
all
But
new
if you
cameras.
only did one.
Yeah, it's about 2 plus, I don't know what the software is, but we already have Digital Watchdog.
Mhm.
I mean, that's
I'm sorry, you already have.
Digital Watchdog is our surveillance software,
Okay.
and this is the same system, so it won't.
Except it has ability to open.
Let's
gates.
just say it's
I can show that.
incrementally.
The answer
Maybe
is
we could do a
probably
demo
a
sometime.
multitude
Yeah,
of
we'll
these.
You know, like I said, if you guys can do just one gate, that might
Just
take
try,
care of
that's what
something.
That's what I've been trying to do. We're gonna
Got a
get,
question
and
right there, I think.
the broken camera is definitely a, segue into trying this.
Mhm.
Okay.
We had a
I
question
mean,
up
you
there.
agree, John, with that?
I'm okay with
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
I think all great ideas. From what I hear, especially with coming up to the office and stuff and new people and why we started in your car. I cringed every time, oh yeah, all you have to do is prove that you're an owner and you come in and you get 2 free gate cards. And so they started getting auto information. I think it's a multitude of things, and John, I think your idea is spot on, but we gotta do it in phases. And first, I think a lot of homeowners just wanna know who's coming in. And the LPR or RFID is the first step. And then we sent out in the roundup all about the ring, how we as neighbors can, anybody who has a ring, we can correlate together and stuff like that. And maybe we give out information about what you have with the lights and things like that. And that is a homeowner's choice, but knowing who comes in first, I think that's our biggest issue at this point because we have no idea. We really don't know, except they have a gate card, who my son could have gave to somebody else, to somebody else, to somebody else.
Yeah, at this
And then-
point, we don't know where they all are.
Yes, and this would force
I got two.
property owners, lot owners, and everybody
About
to
20.
at least update their cars and who's supposed to be in here. And then it's something that should be renewed every year because you get new cars or you get a teenage driver, you need to add a car. I mean, and that's a way to get into our community. I mean, I just think that's a win-win for everybody.
I think it's a good start.
You should have.
It's a good start.
Well,
Hey,
and
John.
the assessments because getting in and out, having access, it's gonna have to be right.
You didn't pay your assessment.
Assessments, yeah.
You don't pay your assessment.
You've got to do
yourself in on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you had the license plate reader that did that, it was real time and it opens the gate for you, boy, you'd gain a lot of support, because that would be awesome, not to have to slow down.
I agree.
Go up to the gate,
I
wait
agree.
your car, it's not a big deal, because we don't.
Well, it's a big deal for me. I have 4 kids with 4 spouses and their children. So answering that phone, sometimes I want to jump in the water
Yeah.
and I don't have my phone. Here, I'm starting to dam backup up at the gate.
Hey,
I told him I know I'm gonna answer that.
Hey, John, is that camera, or when you talked about, is it motion sense the light or is the light on, like a night light?
The camera.
You gotta check that out. This is a bird sanctuary. I don't think you can have street lights in here.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I think.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
We'll make you a little rain tree license tag. and come.
It's actually what I was looking at buying little license plates for the golf cart. Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay. So John had a very interesting point, is that Braintree is a bird sanctuary. You may not be able to put streetlights up. I didn't even think about that.
Well, that is it's one of my pet peeves. I'm a stargazer.
Yeah.
And I hate all the lights.
Yeah.
I hate to buy. Turn off your lights. A raccoon went by and I just didn't see the shooting star.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, dude? Turn them off.
We should be a dark sky sanctuary as well.
I love the dark sky.
Right.
Okay.
If you've ever seen Starlight go over, it's pretty.
Yeah.
We were talking about motorcycles. No, about motorcycles and LPR.
Go. And golf.
And golf cart.
And golf.
Well, it's-
Golf cart.
All those small little vehicles are tough.
Okay, so Glenn, I hate to interrupt, but we do have to hit your next item because I think it's a very
I
important part of
do,
this.
I do, if I could just turn.
Yeah.
Man, we got it here. I
Did it go
You
off?
need to be,
Good call, Joe.
Get it-
How did I do that? I did that when I was, no, it's on, it's on.
I love this technology.
I know.
These guys they're gonna flash it up there.
We need somebody who knows something
It's only
about
gonna take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's only gonna be 10 minutes, and I'm gonna have a piece of paper.
I mean, this thing,
You know, saying.
there you go.
here's the next item.
That's gotta be turned on. Did that go off too?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, RFID, we got pros, cons, license plates, pros, cons.
Does that have a license plate? It's not reading the license.
But, so the next topic, tower.
Yeah.
Wait, your next topic is what?
And this, we got this tower replacement. The lift arm towers are getting very old.
Okay.
So maintenance and Tom Hayes says code red on 2 of them. And they are, to get all 6 is about $26,000.
26,000.
These towers have lasted 20 years.
What happens as they're getting older? Are we having problems with them or they just say they're getting older?
They're getting older, they do have problems, the parts are getting harder to find, like the control board.
Makes sense.
So I don't think we have to replace all 6, but 2 would be important because gate entry method doesn't matter if we don't have a lift on.
Good point.
So
Well,
I don't-
something else you could do 2 of them and.
I would do 2. I would do the only 2 that are really important are the 2 that get knocked over all the time, because that's what takes that.
And can we, just out of it, can we save the parts from the other 2 to keep repairing the 3rd one?
Some, yes.
You know, I mean, we could, keep doing
I don't know,
it that way.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right, there's some parts, the control board won't be the same, it'll be.
Rather than replace all 3 of them right off the bat, let's go ahead.
But, yeah, there's, it's the arm.
Don't throw it out until it's over.
Replacement foam padding.
Don't
Get out of there.
Don't do it.
I like the barbed wire.
So, I mean, I would actually say that this is the most important thing we can do.
Do we have to keep that little padding on there? Is that something
Think,
voted on or something?
I don't know, I think there's 2 parts of it. One is the foam padding helps. If it does hit something, jazz up the arm and power. The other one is that it doesn't damage a car, because if it damages a car, it's gonna come down to video, and if they're hell bent and they wanna take us to court, you're gonna spend.
Will they have a case or not?
Right, from it, so, I don't know that really matters to one way or
Okay,
the other.
so 10 minutes ago, we were talking about not protecting the person that knocks it down. Now we're protecting the person that knocks it down.
Right, because we're lawyers.
In the car, not the.
Not knowing what your budget is, your budget amount that I have and everything else, but if you would going to be replacing, let's say you get the new license plate reader and you get the software to work that one gate and you
Replace 2 towers.
and you replace the 2 towers.
Still very much in budget. We have a one-time assess.
There's still $30,000 left from the special assessment. for
Okay,
security.
so that we still have some roaming patrol for this summer is what I'm looking at, I mean, if we need something later on, I don't know how much we spent on that last
What do you
year.
mean roaming patrol?
Well, you know how we had the cops come in here and then.
But that
Oh,
doesn't
no,
cost.
we had security, we hired some security guys. to come in.
Well, we didn't actually last year, but I think 4th of July we will this year.
Yeah,
But that's nominal and that's not,
okay, all
But-
right.
So yeah, for 2 towers and let's say LPR testing, probably 15,000,
Okay,
and that's within budget.
all right.
but some of this stuff with that security assessment, that money really needs to go to improving security. This item is a maintenance item
Correct.
that we need to get budgeted for, but what we did with the budget this year was that, last year we did a survey, overwhelmingly people said roads. It was almost 70% were roads. We put the assessment on there. And, I don't really want to hear any more about it, split the vote and this and that, the other thing. If people really cared about the roads at 70%, one of those 2 should have passed. And it didn't pass. So we told everybody point blank, if it doesn't pass, you're gonna get critical impassable road repair only. So that's what we went forth with the budget. So now is the time for us to fix security. Now is the time for us to fix the lakes. Because those are the next 2 highest things on the priority list. So if you can't do number 1, go to number 2 and
You
3.
can't even touch number 1.
You can't even touch number 1, so go get 2 and 3 done. Let's, instead of spinning our wheels, let's get something done. So I would say that, I believe at the moment that we can probably do, I don't know so much about RFID, because if I need to buy 5,000 RFID tags, at $9 a piece.
Yeah.
Now it's a significant piece. If all I gotta do is buy the cameras and the software. If I buy the cameras and the software, it's
That's
a,
Google.
you know,
Yeah,
it's a.
but John,
Google.
you would be reimbursed for the tags as they sold them.
Well,
as they get it.
right, but if we want, but if we wanna migrate away from this, then. And you want the comfort of every owner has this tag on their car. Then you gotta move away from, cause if you try to sell it. Now we got what Dennis said, there are people out here already spent $250 and bought 10 gate cards.
Yeah.
There are, so if we can take that objection away by having a solution. That's part of the whole picture. Then we potentially can. It's like, hey, you know what, yeah, you register your car, yep, the card goes away. But you're not being asked to spend any more money. You're not being asked to, all you gotta do is give us the current registration of the vehicle. And, we load the license plate reader and you're in. If we want to limit it at 10, limit it at 15, you probably need 30 with that plan you got, but, out of it, but, but anyway, I think that we probably can, once, Glenn puts all the numbers together and gives it to us, we probably could do LPR
At all gates.
and the gate arms,
the
if
gate
need be. We probably can afford to put, a flock camera at the entrance if we think, or that solution might.
I mean, if you're
Costs more
gonna
than-
just
Right.
look at, I like the idea of having the flock at the entrance, you're gonna get everybody at one time, I get that. But I don't know what it does for us internally.
All right, I don't know what you're looking for, Glenn and John, if you guys are looking for a motion or anything, but I mean, I think that we should go ahead and buy the 2 towers that we need. So.
I think we
if
should
you
buy
guys
all
know
6 at this point.
What's that?
Wait, time out. We don't have any proof that anything we buy is gonna work with the future things that we're thinking about buying. These things have to work together.
Yeah, we gotta vet it out.
Yeah, I mean, we can't just vote on this, say, let's buy them right away. We gotta find out where we're going. And then make sure there's a API interface in between what we currently have, the cameras we have, plus, well, the LPR, the LPR camera is gonna work with that gate and put it up without having to buy new control boards inside it. So at each gate, there's big boxes there for you to go out. Inside those big boxes are a bunch of control boards. Well, no, not the towers, but the actual boards that are mounted on the brick things. There's control boards in there that control those towers. And we have to make sure that they're all gonna work together. I mean, it's not just, like buying a new refrigerator and putting it in and plugging it in. It's all gonna work
Well, I
together.
told you I'm not gonna leave.
It'll get-
I said that at the very
I
beginning.
will say Tom does understand that. Tom and maintenance, they understand.
Yeah.
Well,
So
okay,
They're getting
then-
bids, they're getting bids that it's a lift master.
Okay, so what's our plan for? I mean, you gonna go ahead and get this LPR reader,
Well, we're gonna
One
get, we're
gate?
definitely gonna get the one.
and then are you gonna buy the software to
Yes.
work one gate?
Yes.
Is that gate gonna be compatible? What, you gonna buy a new tower then to work with that gate?
Don't need a new tower to work with that gate, but we're gonna look at buying 2 new towers too. And I'll submit it.
Right,
They can't. You're gonna have to remember that these guys have to take it to the board for approval.
right.
I understand that. Oh, yeah, I know, that's why.
Yeah, and that's what I'll put together. I'll put together a proposal for the board.
Correct.
Confirm that it all works, I'll work with you, of course, to make sure that the 2, at minimum 2 new towers.
Right.
Are fully compatible.
Right.
Hey Glenn, when you buy the camera. You said software, do you buy the software one time or do you buy it for each entrance,
That-
each gate?
I'll have to ask Dan, but I think it's just a one-time add-on to our digital watchdog surveillance. software that we have now.
With an annual renewal of the license.
Right,
Okay.
you're always gonna do that.
Yeah, I think you have a question on it.
An observation or suggestion regarding the how to pay for the revenue and how many cards people get and how much it costs and so on and so forth. And I don't know what the number is, and, you know, we're, what, 8 months here, so we're just kind of newbies, but if you gave every lot owner, every homeowner, say 10, you know, you can have 10 of these RFIDs, or you can register 10 LPR, whatever y'all come up with. But if you want more than that, you know, there's not just $10 for each one or $15 for each one or whatever it is. You want more than that, because what you're trying to do, I think, is limit the amount of traffic you have coming, particularly on, you know, on the weekends and the holidays. And things like that. Okay, well, above 10, they're not gonna cost you, you know, 15, they're gonna cost you
50.
50.
Yeah, maybe it's
That's just an idea, it's not.
And I'm actually good with that. If you don't wanna pay 50, you go through the gas kiosk. and off you go.
If you're good with it, it's 100, because you're the one that's gonna buy them.
So then you find out how bad people really want it.
I agree. I appreciate that. I think it's a good idea.
If it's too easy to get, we'll just get, you know.
That's why we should set the limit. It can't be $2 for every license plate. It's gotta be a little hurtful.
So it'd be just like cars, you get a couple and you pay for them, you don't have to that, you limit it, or you make it so cost prohibitive or painful that people really think hard.
Yeah, so I think, Kent, maybe what we do to Denny's point though is if, you know, if you got 10 cards today, and this isn't the card-based system, as long as you bring us the registration. So if it's for your kids, your family, you know, grandma, whatever, you know, as long as you bring us the registration for that vehicle, then it's a even off trade-off. You know, if you want to buy more than the gate card allotment, or we started up with new, okay? You come in here new, you're allowed, you know, whatever, you know, however your immediate family is that lives in your house. You know, so if you've got your spouse and 2 driving kids that are living at that residence of that house, then you could get 4. You know, if you want to start adding on, you know, your siblings and everything else as a new owner that, you know, you want your brother on it, or you want, you know, your adult kids that don't live with you, well, those might be the ones that you buy at that point. But at least the current owners that have paid for the cards, if they're not, you know, if they're not out anything by switching the system other than registering it,
Right. I think
you know,
that's a great idea.
then that might be a good balance point, you know, I don't know.
And a good transition.
So,
It's an easy transition.
Right, makes everybody feel happy.
Yeah.
and
So you mentioned grandma, so now are these cards gonna read the Rascal scooters? When grandma comes over, and her Rascal scooters.
we get her the golf cart, we get her registered as a golf cart, and we'll put the plate on it.
All right, we're gonna hurry up here now.
Yeah.
Last thing was, let's set a time and frequency of this meeting. Oh, no, we have the permanent camera and microphone. Kind of shelve it and keep talking about that. But rather
Can we maybe assign somebody to look into that?
I think
They have
Mike
some
should look into
questions
that. You wanna look into that?
Sure.
for next time.
It's got to come with somebody that knows how to live stream.
Is that what?
Well, so we talked about Zoom, just having
No, he's talking.
recording and putting it on.
Just on the ceiling.
Oh.
And I don't necessarily need to see it live, but I certainly would want to access
Well,
video.
I think a lot of them want to see it live.
I think
so,
So, I mean, if we
Better
can,
when he shows up.
We'll have to
it's
get
live
Derek
stream.
in here, tell us how to do it.
yeah.
But you can take that.
I'll look at it.
All right, thank
I'll
you,
do it.
thank you.
So for those of you that didn't get that, that is, we're trying to look at something to get us back to being able to live stream the meetings so that people who can't attend in person, you know, want to watch it, you know, the day after. I mean, we're not at that quick of getting everything loaded to the web for the audios, but
Stop being dependent on one guy that comes with his laptop and his camera ready to go.
yeah. So we have something in here that, you know, somebody knows how to launch the meeting and live stream it and.
I think it's great. Yeah.
So do we like having a projector and projecting it on the screen as well?
Yeah. I think that's meaningful. When he does the budget,
Yeah,
it'd be much better than just talking about it.
that's my
That's
projector.
already mounted up there. Mounted up there with the camera that's gonna record everything.
Sure.
And be done.
Yep. Good
Makes
solution.
sense.
So we can have movie night up here too?
Yes, we could.
Could you do that?
Yep. And it's all recorded too.
For a fee.
And then
It's
how-
expensive to go to the movies.
Lakes and Beaches is once a month now, kind of predetermined once a month, right?
What is Lakes
Lakes and Beaches is.
You meet once a month.
Do we need to do this once a month for a short, at least a short?
Like, still we get some of the stuff south.
I think so too.
I think so too.
All right,
Yeah, I'm fine
we'll
with that.
pick a time and I'll talk to you guys.
Right.
Just let us know and we'll
Yeah.
schedule your Zoom
All
call.
right. Soon as we're all flying through those gates with our license plate.
You won't be
Stop, then we'll
flying.
go every other.
Yeah, you won't be flying because you only drive as fast as the gate will open.
That's why the new tower.
That's true.
Anybody else have anything?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.